Did you know that more than 60% of UK households are already struggling to cover basic bills, and yet new laws are about to make it even harder? Imagine opening your bank app tomorrow and finding out that hidden charges, new tax rules, or stricter regulations have quietly reduced what you thought was yours. Could your savings, your pension, or even your side hustle income be at risk without you realizing it? The shocking truth is that these laws aren't just words on paper, they reach directly into your pocket. And what's worse, most people don't even know the changes have begun. So the real question is, are you safe, or will you be the next to feel the pinch? Number 1. The core laws. For years, people in the UK have worried about rising costs, but now the concern isn't just about prices. It's about new laws that directly decide how much money stays in your pocket. The government has quietly rolled out adjustments that hit everyday life in ways most households won't notice until it's too late. Take taxes, for example. Middle-class earners, the backbone of cities like Manchester and Leeds, are now facing tighter thresholds. That means even modest pay rises could push families into higher tax bands, swallowing income they thought would finally give them breathing space. Pensions, too, are under the spotlight, with fresh regulations designed to protect retirement savings but which, in reality, make withdrawals trickier and could lock away money people urgently need. Savings accounts aren't safe either. New rules on interest reporting mean even a little growth in a bank account can create unexpected tax responsibilities. Then there's the digital world. If you're running a side hustle in Birmingham, selling crafts online or consulting through social media, you might soon discover that every pound you earn must be logged and declared in far more detail than before. What once felt like harmless extra income could now bring audits, penalties, and endless paperwork. For freelancers in London's gig economy, the message is even sharper. No more gray areas. Every invoice, every PayPal transaction, every sponsorship deal has to be accounted for. Small business owners in places like Glasgow or Bristol will also feel the weight of new compliance checks, spending precious hours on reporting instead of growing their businesses. These laws don't just change numbers on a page. They shape daily routines, family decisions, and even long-term dreams. A father working 2 jobs in Manchester may find his overtime pay barely adds up after new deductions. A retired couple in Edinburgh could see their pension access tightened just when health costs are rising. A student in Liverpool making money on TikTok might suddenly face tax bills that wipe out their savings. Each example highlights the same truth. These laws are not abstract. They are designed in Parliament but felt at the dinner table, in the bank account, and in the stress people carry into their everyday lives. Number 2. Why these laws matter. At first glance, these new laws might look like just another set of financial adjustments, but their true impact goes far beyond money. When households in London, Leeds, or Glasgow wake up to shrinking paychecks or tighter pension access, the consequences don't stop at the bank account. They spill into productivity, health, and even family relationships. Financial stress is one of the biggest hidden drains on mental focus. Studies show that people under money pressure can lose up to 30% of their efficiency at work because their minds are constantly racing with questions. How will I pay the bills? Will I have enough for rent? What if my savings aren't enough? Imagine a nurse in Leeds working long shifts. While she's on her feet, she's also mentally calculating tax deductions, leaving her exhausted before the day even ends. Or think of a shopkeeper in Glasgow who spends late nights filling out new compliance forms instead of resting. His lack of sleep makes him irritable with customers the next morning, further hurting his business. It's not just about lost time, it's about lost health. Chronic financial anxiety increases blood pressure, disrupts sleep patterns, and weakens immunity. For people already interested in natural remedies and balanced living, this link is crucial. Stress from money laws can undo the benefits of meditation, exercise, or a clean diet. A family in London may try herbal teas to relax at night, but if their minds are consumed by unexpected tax letters, the remedies only work on the surface. Even time management routines suffer. Instead of spending an evening planning the week ahead, parents may find themselves scrambling over spreadsheets and online tax calculators. This constant distraction reduces focus on meaningful goals and increases dependence on quick fixes, whether that's scrolling endlessly on social media or skipping meals to save money. Over time, these habits chip away at well-being and productivity in ways that aren't immediately obvious but are deeply damaging. What's most concerning is that these ripple effects are invisible until they suddenly overwhelm. People don't realize that the law affecting their pension or side income is also stealing their sleep, shortening their patience, and eroding their resilience. That's why these laws matter more than you think. They shape not just your financial standing, but the quality of your daily life and the balance of your health. Number 3. Who's hit the hardest? Every new law creates two sides, those who struggle and those who quietly benefit. In the case of the UK's recent financial regulations, the scales are far from balanced. Pensioners stand among the most vulnerable. For retirees in cities like Glasgow or Birmingham, new pension rules mean stricter withdrawal conditions and reduced flexibility. Many who depend on that money for medical expenses or rising energy bills are now left with less control at the very stage of life when stability matters most. Renters, too, are feeling the pinch. In London, where housing costs are already suffocating, additional tax pressures and landlord regulations trickle down to tenants, pushing rents even higher. Freelancers and side hustlers, people in Leeds designing websites or in Manchester selling online, are also heavily exposed. Detailed reporting requirements and tax scrutiny make their flexible incomes far more complicated, turning what once felt like financial freedom into constant anxiety. Small business owners across the UK face a similar squeeze, forced to navigate costly compliance measures and endless red tape, leaving them with less time to grow their businesses. On the other side of the equation, however, sit the real beneficiaries. Wealthy investors with diversified portfolios often find loopholes that shelter their earnings, meaning that while the middle-class worker sees their paycheck shrink, the investor's profits remain protected. Large corporations, too, benefit from economies of scale. They can afford teams of accountants and lawyers to navigate regulations, while a family-owned shop in Nottingham or Edinburgh can barely keep up. This imbalance highlights the deeper inequality at play. The very groups carrying the economy on their shoulders, the workers, shopkeepers, freelancers, and retirees, are the ones hit hardest. Meanwhile, those already at the top can bend the system in their favor. It creates a sense of injustice that isn't just financial but emotional, as everyday people see their sacrifices result in less security while others grow richer. These new laws, then, are more than numbers. They're dividing lines. For one group, it means constant trade-offs, less money for food, for savings, for time with family. For the other, it means opportunities to consolidate wealth and strengthen influence. And while the winners are few, the losers number in the millions, spread across every city and town in the UK. Number 4. Practical steps. When new laws tighten their grip on personal finances, the best response isn't panic, it's preparation. Just like strengthening your immune system before flu season, small and consistent steps can make you far more resilient when financial pressures arrive. Start with budgeting. Instead of broad categories like bills and shopping, break expenses into smaller, clearer groups. A family in Leeds, for instance, might separate groceries, utilities, transport, and leisure into distinct envelopes or digital trackers. This method instantly reveals where money quietly leaks away. Even shaving £20 a week from unnecessary spending can build a cushion over time. Next, focus on productivity routines that directly ease financial stress. In London, where workdays are long and commutes draining, people often neglect structured time management. Setting aside even 15 minutes a day to review finances, track receipts, or prepare invoices reduces last-minute panic and creates a sense of control. Stress thrives in chaos, but order restores energy. For freelancers and side hustlers, awareness of digital income rules is critical. Imagine a Manchester consultant who earns through PayPal. Under the new reporting system, every transaction must be documented. By creating a simple spreadsheet and updating it weekly, she prevents future headaches and potential fines. These microhabits save not only money but peace of mind. Another protective step is the daily savings buffer. Think of it as a personal shield. Even if it's only £2 or £3 a day set aside, by the end of the year that habit builds into hundreds of pounds that can cover a sudden tax adjustment or a surprise bill. For retirees in Glasgow, this buffer might mean setting aside small amounts from pension payouts into a separate emergency fund rather than relying solely on main savings. And don't underestimate health-linked habits. Stress from money laws can erode well-being, so blending financial routines with natural remedies, herbal teas before bed, short evening walks to clear the mind, deep breathing exercises during budgeting, helps the body cope while the mind stays sharp. These aren't grand strategies reserved for experts. They're practical, everyday steps that anyone can take, no matter their income level. And just like consistent exercise strengthens the body, Consistent financial discipline strengthens resilience. With new laws changing the rules of the game, the households that survive best will be those that adopt protective routines before the pressure peaks. Number 5. Hidden costs. Not all financial pressure arrives with headlines or official announcements. Some of the most damaging changes slip in quietly, like water leaking through cracks, slowly draining households without anyone realizing until it's too late. These are the hidden costs, stealth taxes, service fees, and digital levies, that quietly pile up. Take the energy bills in London, for example. While the official tariff may look unchanged, new environmental surcharges and compliance fees are tucked into the fine print, meaning families pay more for the same amount of power. It's like walking into a supermarket in Manchester, picking up the same loaf of bread you've bought for years, but at the checkout discovering an extra charge for packaging or delivery, without the sticker price ever changing. Digital levies are another silent burden. In an age where freelancers, influencers, and small sellers rely on online platforms, hidden transaction fees and reporting costs can eat away at earnings. A student in Birmingham who sells handmade jewelry online might celebrate a £100 sale, only to find that platform charges, tax deductions, and new service fees leave her with far less than expected. Even pensions and savings accounts are not immune. Banks across Glasgow and Leeds now pass along compliance costs through maintenance or processing fees. On paper, it looks harmless, a few pounds here and there, but across a year, it quietly erodes the interest that was supposed to protect against inflation. For renters, hidden costs arrive in the form of landlord service charges. A flat in London may have the same rent as last year, but suddenly building maintenance or administration fees appear, leaving tenants paying hundreds more annually without technically seeing a rent increase. These invisible drains go beyond money. They disrupt family budgets and long-term planning. Parents trying to save for their child's education find the pot shrinking. Retirees who thought their pension would stretch discover that fees cut into their monthly comfort. And workers already struggling with time management must now spend extra hours scrutinizing bills and statements just to spot where the money is disappearing. Hidden costs work in silence, but their effect is loud in people's lives. Less savings, less freedom, and more stress. They prove that laws don't always hit through bold taxes or visible cuts. Sometimes they nibble away in small, unnoticed bites until households feel emptier without ever knowing exactly why. Number 6. Everyday scenarios. Sometimes the best way to understand the impact of new laws is to step into the shoes of ordinary people living under them. Picture a retired couple in Leeds. For years, they've relied on their pensions to cover essentials and enjoy modest comforts like weekly outings or visits with grandchildren. But with stricter withdrawal rules and unexpected service fees, their once stable income now feels unpredictable. They find themselves cutting back on heating during winter or skipping small pleasures they once took for granted, not because their pension shrank, but because the rules surrounding it tightened. Now imagine a freelancer in London, designing websites by day, earning extra through online platforms by night. She logs in to check her latest payments, only to be met with new reporting requirements that demand she track and declare every transaction. What felt like financial independence now feels like a full-time accounting job, with penalties looming if she slips up. Across the country in Manchester, a small shop owner faces another reality. His business has survived tight margins and rising rents, but the new compliance costs, paperwork, audits, mandatory digital reporting, eat away at both his profits and his time. Instead of focusing on customers, he's buried in forms, losing hours that could have been spent growing the business. These are not abstract policies. They are lived experiences shaping how people eat, work, rest, and dream. From Leeds to London to Manchester, the laws creep into daily routines in ways that feel both subtle and suffocating. For every pound earned or saved, there's a rule, a deduction, or a hidden fee waiting. And when ordinary people feel the weight of these laws in such personal ways, the reality of their impact becomes impossible to ignore. Number 7. Can you outsmart the system? The truth is, while laws may tighten, there are always smart, legal ways to adapt, and sometimes even turn the tables. Outsmarting the system doesn't mean breaking rules. It means learning to work within them more cleverly than most people do. Start with time management. Hidden costs and new reporting requirements can feel overwhelming, but dedicating just 15 to 20 minutes a day to reviewing finances can prevent last-minute chaos. Think of it as training your mind the way athletes train their bodies. Small, consistent routines build resilience. A freelancer in London, for example, could set a fixed finance hour each Friday to update invoices, log payments, and double-check digital records. By turning it into a habit, she avoids drowning in paperwork at tax season. Then there's financial planning hacks that keep more money where it belongs, your pocket. Pensioners in Leeds, for instance, can explore shifting some savings into accounts that remain under the new tax thresholds, making sure they don't accidentally trigger higher charges. Renters in Glasgow might negotiate fixed-term utility deals before hidden fees climb further, locking in stability for the year ahead. Small shop owners in Manchester can embrace accounting apps that automate compliance tasks, slashing the hours wasted on manual forms. And let's not ignore the world of social media and online income. If you're earning through platforms like TikTok, Etsy, or YouTube, the best protection is awareness. Creating a simple ledger that tracks not just income but also allowable expenses, like equipment, software, or even workspace costs, can legally reduce what you owe. Many overlook this, leaving money on the table, when the system itself allows those deductions. Ask yourself this: if you knew how to legally shield more of your money, wouldn't you take that step today? Outsmarting the system is less about loopholes and more about discipline. It's learning to play the same game as the corporations and wealthy investors, keeping records sharp, expenses documented, and choices strategic. By combining small financial shields with healthy time habits, ordinary people can stand stronger, even under the weight of these new laws. Because in the end, knowledge isn't just power, it's protection. Number 8. What's ahead for the UK? When we step back from the immediate frustrations of tax bans, pension limits, or compliance forms, a larger picture begins to emerge. One that ties the UK's new laws to global currents reshaping economies everywhere. Inflation has already weakened the pound in the pockets of ordinary families, but when paired with stricter rules, it creates a double burden: rising prices on one side and reduced flexibility on the other. The UK isn't acting in isolation, either. Across Europe, governments are tightening regulations to plug budget gaps, while in the US, debates over digital taxation mirror what British freelancers are now facing. The rise of digital finance is also accelerating this shift. Cryptocurrencies, online payments, and side hustle economies once thrived in the shadows, but lawmakers are determined to bring every transaction into the spotlight. That means the same energy that once gave ordinary people a chance to supplement their income now risks being smothered under paperwork and levies. For global investors, these changes are signals of stability. For everyday households in Leeds, Birmingham, or Glasgow, they feel more like shackles. Consider this: while large corporations can spread their costs across continents, the average shopkeeper in Manchester can barely keep up with national adjustments. The gap between global mobility and local struggle grows wider every year. So the real question becomes, are these laws truly protecting citizens from future crises, or are they slowly draining them, piece by piece, until resilience is lost? The UK stands at a crossroads. On one path lies innovation, renewable energy projects, digital hubs in Cambridge and Oxford, and policies that could encourage growth if managed wisely. On the other lies stagnation, where regulations pile onto households already exhausted by years of inflation and uncertainty. The bigger picture shows us this isn't just about today's paycheck, it's about the direction of the country for the next decade. Will these changes create a stronger, fairer system, or will they carve deeper divides between those who can adapt and those who cannot? The urgency lies not only in how we handle our finances today, but in how we prepare for the UK that is emerging tomorrow. From London's high streets to Glasgow's living rooms, these laws touch every part of daily life. Tell us in the comments, how are you seeing the impact where you live? Don't miss our previous video for more insights, and if you value the effort we put into bringing you these breakdowns, support us with just one click. Subscribe and stay with us on this journey.